the chief of the Fargo Fire Department since November of 2011. Welcome back to KFGO, Chief Steve Dirkson. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Dan. Great to be with you this afternoon.
Yeah, believe me, the pleasure is always ours to have you on with us. Chief, I kind of wanted to get caught up with your health. I'm sure a lot of people realize that you had COVID and were in isolation. This has been a couple months now, but any lingering effects? How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. If, other than the COVID 5 or 10 or maybe a little bit more that I put on since last March being held up, but no, the effects of COVID are they feel like they've passed, and I mended well, I believe, and back doing what I've been doing for the last 30 years. So.
That's good news. I'm glad you're feeling well. Now, you guys have gone through some vaccines, and this is the kind of people that should get vaccinated, are the people that are going to be going out, interacting with the public all the time, police, fire, ambulance, etc., medical people, etc. And so the Fargo Fire Department, you guys have all been vaccinated now?
We've had probably close to 92% of our department has been vaccinated. So we're pretty happy with that. There's people for different reasons that don't take vaccinations, and you're going to have that in any group, and they can or they can't do that. So, but majority of our folks have had the first and the second vaccination. I think we got a straggler or two out there that need the second, just because of scheduling wise that we weren't able to get them in with the rest of the group. But everybody's been doing well. We've had a few people that at each time had some side effects from some stiffness, achy, headaches, fatigue, chills, those kind of things for symptoms. So, we've kind of ran that little gamut of that you've heard with all of the vaccines, that it really varies person by person. And
did you have any problem with the vaccine?
I did get knocked down a little bit. I had my second one last week, and I experienced some pretty significant fatigue for a day, but I just slept probably about, I would say, hopefully the bosses aren't listening, but 18, 19 hours of the day. I did stay home one day just because I just was fatigued, and I slept about 18, 19 hours out of a 24-hour period.
Whoa. Okay. Well, and that's what we're hearing. There's all sorts of great stories. A lot of people are saying they didn't have anything, maybe just a little arm soreness, all the way to, we've got people here, and Polly's wife, for example, was down for several days with those kind of symptoms. Migraine, I think she had as well. But all worth it to get vaccinated against this COVID virus. So I'm glad everybody is getting inoculated. There is a statistic out today, and I don't have it right in front of me, Steve, but there's a statistic where now in the United States, something happened yesterday. It was pretty significant. We now have more people vaccinated than have the virus.
Well, there you go.
So
that's good to know.
We're going in the right direction. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. February is Heart Health Month, and we wanted to talk a little heart safety with the Chief here during our time on our Check-In with the Chief segment today. Chief, I'm always reminded whenever you bring something like that up, my mind always goes to the same place. When I was in high school, there was a guy named Richard Lands who was on the school board at Valley City and was a friend of my father's, and he came home on a snowy evening, and the kids had not shoveled the sidewalk, and so he hit it and did it, and it didn't come in for dinner, and they went out and they found he'd passed of a heart attack. His body was lying in the bushes out in front of his house, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk a little bit about, heart safety. We're going to be going into some very cold conditions. We might be getting some blowing snow, and before you get out there on your driveway and become an Olympic athlete all of a sudden after many years of just being a couch-level participant, you got to take it easy. Steve, you can get wiped out fast shoveling snow.
Yeah, absolutely. The snow varies. We're all well aware of that here in the upper Midwest. We can get this nice, light, fluffy stuff that doesn't take much to do anything to move it, but then you can get some of that what we call the heart attack snows, where you get that heavy, wet snow that you just can't push it out of the way. You got to throw every piece of it out of the way, and sometimes in the middle of winter, our activity level goes down. We just get off of the holidays between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and maybe we've added a few more pounds, and we're just not in the same physical condition that we were. Or some of us that still think we're 20, 25 years old and we can just get off the couch and do those things. Really can't do that anymore. So, the great thing is that I remember, when I look back at my childhood and when my parents had 60 feet plus of driveway to scoop, we didn't have a snow blower. It was called Steve at our house. And so there was a lot of scooping that I could handle back then. But, the advent now, I don't know of too many people that don't have a snow blower. So using the technology that we have and using equipment to move that, if we get large amounts, that's a great thing. Or call a neighbor if you know a neighbor doesn't have it, help them out.
Absolutely. And so, Steve, when we think about stuff, and God forbid, none of this is going to happen around our part of the world this winter, and we'll all be safe. But when there is something like that, somebody has had a type of medical problem, whether it's shoveling or another different kind of thing, the Fargo Fire Department goes out on these medical runs all the time. What is the fire department's responsibility on these medical runs?
In our area here in the metro area, it's kind of all the same within all the communities. We operate in the tiered EMS response system where the fire departments are generally what we're calling a quick response unit. Most of us have our personnel trained to at least some form of first aid, but most of them are trained to the level of an emergency medical technician, the basic level of what a lot of people would term an ambulance person.
Okay.
And so our positioning throughout the city in our 7 locations in Fargo allows us for a quick response. As being an accredited fire department, we work really hard to get to any address within the city in the shortest amount of time. That's one of our goals, and we want to be there within 5 minutes of a call is kind of our goal of travel time. Ultimately, our ultimate goal is from the time someone calls 911 to the time we arrive on scene, no longer than 6.5 minutes.
That's an incredible response time.
And that's what the investment that the community makes in building fire stations and putting the equipment there and training and hiring personnel to do that. That's one of the advantages of that is that these we're quickly positioned within the community to respond to your home or business or on the streets or whatever that matter might be in a quick time frame, so that we can stop these things, because we know that when we're talking about heart disease and stroke and things like that we really need that quick response. After 4 to 6 minutes, we see significant brain death, and the chances of surviving a cardiac arrest decrease tremendously the longer it goes from the time of the onset to when help first arrives.
That was going to be my next question. How long can the human brain go without oxygen?
About 4 to 6 minutes. And then we really need somebody to intervene very, very quickly, because the longer it goes past that, the probability of surviving those instances for every minute really decreases dramatically.
So in a situation now, we're going to be going into the deep freeze here now, and there's going to be some snow, blowing snow, and I'm sure it's not exactly sure where everything is going to be hitting us, but how does that impact, like, let's say there's a blizzard going on or there's a snowstorm going on and there's a urgent medical assist call, there's a fire call, how does that impact your guys' ability to get out of your fire station and get to where you're going?
We work really hard, making sure that, our equipment can get out of the doors of the station. We work around the clock to keep the driveways clear and able to get to the streets. We have a great relationship, of course, with our Fargo Public Works, the street department. If need be, we can radio them and they can start plowing the road for us as we work through there. When it gets cold like this, we also look to change our operations to where we may send 2 people instead of everybody on a fire truck. We'll send 2 people in a pickup with 4-wheel drive and a plow truck on the front, and get them down the roads a little quicker. You don't have to push a 60,000-pound vehicle through the snow. You can do a 20 or a 10 or 15, 20,000-pound vehicle through the snow, and we have all of our pickups now are equipped with a snow plow on the front, so we can push some snow out of the way if we do need to get to help somebody.
The chief of the Fargo Fire Department is joining us. It's Checking In with the Chief, with Chief Steve Dirkson of Fargo's Bravest. He's joining us for just, we're almost out of time here today, Chief, but recent fires and trends that you've been seeing, I just can't believe that these deck fires continue to happen.
You know, we saw a nice decline on that for a number of years, but in the last 12 months or so, we've seen that pop up again, and it's probably a public education thing that we need to work on as well. You know, we really bank on apartment owners and folks like that to work with their tenants on that and remind them that you know, potted plants, flowers, things like that are people put on their decks for decoration, or you know, just whatever they want to look at something else other than a railing. That potting soil and stuff in there really isn't soil. It's a product that is able to burn. Putting a cigarette butt in there, you could put it in there, and it could just kind of slowly smolder in there and keep going. And once the wind starts whipping up, the next thing you know, that potting soil, that plastic container that the plant is in, is melting and dripping and causing problems for the neighbors and everybody else in the building, and it happens at homes as well. So, you know, we really need people to be cognizant of those kind of things, and you know, put your cigarettes out in a metal container, put it in sand, put it in water, dispose of them. Don't let them pile up. You know, don't go for weeks on end and not clean out that can, because you know, the cigarette butts again can start a fire and cause problems going forward as well.
The chief of the Fargo Fire Department, Steve Dirkson, joining us, checking in with the chief. Chief, always a great sense of security knowing you and Fargo's Bravest is 5 minutes away from anywhere where we need you. It sure is a good feeling when we're all tucking the kids in at night. So thanks very much for all you do, Steve, and we'll talk to you next month when we check in with the chief, okay?
Hey, sounds great. You know, we've got a great workforce here in Fargo, and we're proud of them. They do a great job and serve our community well, and it's just an honor for me to be the chief.
Chief Steve Dirkson of the Fargo Fire Department. Steve, thanks very much. You have a wonderful evening tonight.
Hey, thanks. You too, Dan.
Take care. Steve Dirkson this afternoon, checking in with the chief. 423, you're listening to the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO.
Where there's a radio, there's news radio. The Mighty 790, 104.7 KFGO.
You ask, what is respect?
Respect is when we all work together to do our part to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we should continue to watch our distance, wear a mask, and avoid crowds.
Now that is respect.
Learn more about vaccines and what you can do to help slow the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Minnesota Lottery brings you shoveling. Though we can never truly clear the driveway of snow, we can learn deeply from the effort. That's the True North spirit. Find yours with the True North Scratch Game. You could win up to $100,000. Minnesota Lottery. I'm in. Must be 18 or older to play.
Have you ever been frustrated trying to get a dermatology appointment in a timely manner? You'll be relieved to know that board-certified dermatologist Dr. Michael Blankenship is offering same-day appointments at IMA Healthcare. Tune in to the IMA Doctors Show on Monday, February 15th at 12:30 p.m. to learn more about the services he's offering and how he can help you with any skin concerns you may have on KFGO.
Smart shoppers will tell you they found it on HighBid.com. HighBid.com lets you explore thousands of auctions across the U.S. and around the world. You'll find gold coins, sporting goods, classic cars, collectible toys, fine jewelry, household items, and sports memorabilia autographed